quick. But first of all, thank you so much, Next Genius, for hosting this event for me and Kristen. Before I dive into today's topic, I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Pan. I am the Associate Director of International Admissions here at Wentworth Institute of Technology, a private STEM university located in the heart of Boston. And I was an international student myself many years ago, so I was in your shoes, and I understand the process. It's different and challenging, and I'm definitely committed to supporting you throughout your application as well as your enrollment process. You can find my contact information on the slide, so definitely do not hesitate to contact me at any point in your application journey. All right, going right into things, when I was going through my application many years ago as an international student, one thing that I found very confusing is that there's so many different types of institutions in the US, and it was so overwhelming for me at the time. That is why today I want to break them down into 3 categories to really help you to gain a clear picture of the higher institutions landscape in the United States. The first group, I sorted them out by types of funding institutions receive. Then we have private and public universities. The second group is based on the length of the education program or the type of education programs different institutions offers. Then we have 4 years of institutions as well as 2 year of community or junior colleges. The third group is based on the unique traits different institutions possess. Then we have comprehensive university, liberal arts colleges and universities, and institutes of technology. By all means, it does not cover all types of institutions, and there certainly overlaps with one another, but overall, this will give you a good understanding of the different types. First, let's talk about public and private institutions. There are a couple of main differences that I like to highlight. The first one is about the source of funding. So public schools are funded mainly by the state governments, while private colleges are supported primarily by their endowment funds or students' tuition fees. Private colleges may also receive contributions from individual donors. For example, every year at Wentworth, we receive generous donations from our alumni, whether they're domestic alumni or international alumni and their families. This is because those alumni, they really enjoyed their time here at those different private institutions and decide to give back to support more students like them. The second difference is about the cost of attendance. So public universities, because they're heavily subsidized by the state government, which enables them to charge lower tuition fees, but only for their in-state residents. So most of the time, it does not apply to international students since you and your parents are probably not paying taxes to that state. This means you will basically pay the out-state student or international student tuition. And for private institutions like Wentworth and Ohio Wesleyan University, on the other hand, most of the time we charge the same tuition for in-state, out-of-state, and international students. So in summary, public institutions may charge less tuition fees for their in-state students, but for international students, the tuition cost may not vary too much for international students. And availability of financial assistance is another one. And as Kristen shared, different institutions have different ways in terms of supporting international students financially. Generally speaking, for public universities, they may offer scholarships to international students, but it's very rare for them to offer financial aid to students because international students are not qualified for federal financial aid. On the other hand, private institutions typically have more money available to fund grants and scholarships or aids. Our ability to offer more attractive financial aid packages can sometimes make the education more affordable than public institutions for international students. One last point I want to make is about the perception of prestige among public and private institutions. Back in my home country, I noticed students from other parts of the world have the same impression as I did. Basically, in my home country, we tend to view public institutions as more prestige, as most prestigious ones, but this is certainly not the case here in the United States. In fact, private colleges here in the US, they may employ more distinguished faculty and really focus on your development because your outcome, your career outcome, education outcome is actually the most important thing private institutions care about. To just give you an idea, all of the Ivy League schools are actually private, and all of our Next Genius partner schools, I believe, are also private as well. This just says how good the quality of education is at private institutions like us. All right, now let's talk about four different, like 4-year institutions versus 2-year community junior colleges. So since most students here are looking for 4-year institutions in the United States, I will make sure to go through this relatively faster. The main difference between those two is the program offerings and the degree types. So for 4-year institutions, basically, usually it tends to be larger. Therefore, they have a greater variety of degrees that you can pursue, such as, like majors in history, biology, computer science, business, things like that. When you graduate from a 4-year university, you will typically receive a bachelor's degree. So for 4-year institutions also offer education at the graduate level sometimes, such as master's degrees or doctoral degrees, law degrees, and more. In contrast, community colleges tend to be smaller with fewer options overall, and then you will usually graduate with an associate degree in about 2 years. Most of the time after students complete their associate degree, they tend to transfer into a 4-year institution to finish their bachelor's degree and pursue their master's degree or doctoral degree. The other difference is about the tuition cost. Community college tuition is often less than what 4-year institutions charge, but just don't let that cost alone dictate where you choose to attend. By exploring grants like Kristen shared earlier, scholarship opportunities, and need-based aid, you may find the costs are really comparable. And also, I would encourage you to think about the quality of education that you will be getting from each type of institution. So the other third group is about comprehensive university, liberal arts colleges, and institutes of technology. So this is the most, I believe, relevant to for all of you, I believe, because most of the time when you're applying to us, you're applying to either one of those types of institutions. Let's start with comprehensive universities. So for comprehensive universities, they offer a full range of academic programs, in undergraduate, master's, and doctoral programs. And most of the time, they're larger institutions with larger class size. For example, a lecture hall at a comprehensive university, they may have over 300 students. And research is a part of the mission statement of these schools as well. So faculty members, they are expected to place a priority on research projects rather than teaching. And a good portion of research opportunities, I believe, are reserved for their graduate students or doctoral students. So for comprehensive universities, they also tend to have teaching assistant teach a class. I actually used to serve as one of the TAs for my professors. So most of the time I was teaching along with other TAs instead of the professor. So I always like to say, comprehensive universities are kind of like the fusion restaurants, right? They have a really big menu, but they are also able to, accommodate a wide range of customers. But they may not necessarily be a good fit for you if you prefer smaller boutique restaurants. Now I'm going to shift gear a little bit and talk about liberal arts colleges and universities. Typically, liberal arts colleges tend to be small. They typically enroll, I believe, fewer than 5,000 students. It's pretty rare to find a liberal arts institutions that's, that has a larger number than that. And most of the time, they tend to be a residential campus. And then for the liberal arts colleges, they're really well known for offering a broad base of education or individualized or flexible curriculum. So for the liberal arts colleges, they really understand how intersected disciplines truly are in the job market and in economy. So they really allow students to explore their interests in a bigger context and allow them to customize their own curriculum by offering access to a variety of different courses related to arts, humanities, social sciences, and sciences. So students oftentimes they're able to major in one, minor in another, or major or maybe double major. So primarily, liberal arts colleges also offer most of the time undergraduate degrees, and their faculties are focused on teaching. Unlike comprehensive institutions, because of the smaller class size, professors are really accessible at liberal arts colleges. Students will be able to form that close relationships with their professors, classmates, staff members, things like that. Even though liberal arts colleges, they focus on teaching, it does not mean that they do not have research opportunities. In fact, they also offer really strong opportunities for undergraduate students to be involved in and conduct research. So the last part that I want to emphasize about liberal arts institution is the type of skill sets that they help students to develop, right? So they really help students to prepare them not just for the job market, but also for graduate school or for life in general. And then last but not least, let's talk about institutes of technology. So for institutes of technology are institutions that specialize in engineering, technology, science, and mathematics related programs, right? So everybody know about MIT and Caltech. Both of them are institutes of technology. My school, Wentworth, is also an institute of technology. So we really allow students to focus your study within a rigorous STEM curriculum. For institutes of technology, they are big ones like MIT, where they have over 11,000 students, or mid-sized one like Wentworth, roughly about 4,000 students, or small ones like Caltech. They only have a little over 2,000 students. So some institutions, they offer master's degrees like MIT and WIT, some don't. So definitely make sure to do your research. The other point I want to make is that institutes of technology aren't for everyone. For example, if you want to study communication or arts or anthropology, institutes of technology are probably not a good fit for you. However, if you're interested in science, in STEM related fields, and then you know down the line you want to do something related to those majors, then we're a good option for you. So all types of institutions offer STEM-related program, but what really sets institutes of technology apart in particular is that all grants are dedicated to STEM only. Every year, those students are developing new, those schools, they're developing new curriculum that really prepare our students for an ever-evolving technology industry and offers more opportunity for students to explore new technology area. For example, at Wentworth, we constantly develop, most cutting edge courses, and we just created a quantum computing for security course. So all teaching powers at STEM institution are also centered around STEM. Those faculty members, they are the true experts in the field, and then they bring guest speakers from those industry. So you will be able to form that connection day one when you're on campus. And then institutes of technology also have industry-related connections to only dedicated to STEM. So for example, our artificial intelligence course that I just shared earlier, we are actually, collaborate with both where they work with our students and are thinking strategically about utilizing AI techniques in their headphone designs. And the institutes of technology are also known for hands-on and project-based learning. And also we offer lots of research opportunities within STEM as well. So to just give you kind of an example, here at Wentworth, our students, they have access to 3D tissue printers. One of my students, Michelle, she told me a couple of days ago that she printed out a heart for one of her projects. We also have research opportunities available to our undergraduate students. They're able to conduct research on fruit flies, on a variety of different topics that really interest them. The last part is about, high return on investment. So in terms of that, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for non-STEM occupation is actually $40,000. And then the median wage for STEM occupation in the year of 2020 is actually close to $90,000, because institutes of technology offer majors that are really in high demand, and they offer a lot of like co-ops or internships that will allow students to gain work experience before graduation. So students tend to have a higher salary after graduation. For example, for our Wentworth graduates 2020, their annual median starting salary is actually $64,000. That's a much, much higher than the national average. So, all right, that's a wrap for my part. I definitely want to say one last thing before handing it back to Devika. Even though there are so many different types of institutions in the US, finding the institution that is your right fit, that's the key. It means that you will do a lot of research on individual schools that you're thinking about applying to, or just basically just know that we're all here to support and then help you to explore what colleges and universities are the right fit for you. And thank you very much for joining us today.